Mayor Severino.
Here. Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There a motion to approve the minutes of our February 18, 2020 Village Board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Swarzy. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalik.
Here.
Trustee
Aye.
LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Frizzoni.
Aye.
Trustee Shorzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Under listening posts, we are fortunate to have Cynthia Thomas from Commonwealth Edison to present a streetlight program initiative incentive. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board, for having me tonight. It is always fun to come and deliver news about money that we're giving.
Giving it away, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Cynthia Thomas, and I'm with ComEd, and I support the mayor and his team. Am I good? I support the mayor and his team. So this is my second round, actually, the second time I've been here to deliver a check, right? Right.
You're welcome anytime.
Even if you don't have money, you're still welcome.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. So this round, this is a continuation of the LED change-out program. So back in 2016, when we passed Future Energy Jobs Act, ComEd took over the DCEO program, where the villages used to go through them to get this money. Now we manage it, and we feel like, you know, it's a much faster turnaround, and the villages are pleased with that. So thank you so much for participating, and as a result of that, this check was $25,886. I'll stop for applause. That's pretty good. I always stop for applause. So congratulations on that. So the plaque I'm delivering tonight just kind of tells you what that means in terms of saving and certainly our environment. So with this incentive means that 106 acres of trees could be planted annually, 18 homes could be powered annually, 19 cars would be removed from the road, and Lord knows we need to do that. And 199,000 pounds of CO2 would be reduced annually based on the work that was done in the village. So thank you very much for that. So Mayor, you know I have to have a picture with you because that's what we do.
Come on up here.
It's like my whole job is delivering money and taking pictures, so. I can use my phone. So should I stand here?
No, you come on.
Actually, you can give your, yeah.
You ain't getting away that easy.
Okay. We'll take this side. Is it pointing in the right direction?
Hey, Bob, jump right in on the
I have to,
camera,
put
huh?
this on social media.
Oh, it will be. Don't worry, it will be.
Thank you, thank
What
you.
happened to 1, 2,
Well,
3?
now we gotta get the village. You got yours, we gotta have ours.
Absolutely.
All right, 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Always
you.
good to see you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. You know where we are if you need anything.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
This is a check.
All right.
Can you put that in the bank?
Check has already been delivered.
And we'll make sure this gets shared all over social media.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes,
Because it's
please.
amazing how many people.
Yeah, it really is. And I'll speak to that really quickly, and then so you can get on with your agenda. But the check has been delivered, Mayor Bob's got it. So anywho, I believe we touched on this the last time I was here, so just a little refresher, reminder. Every day, there's somebody else in the news that's getting taken by these fraud, scams. People are getting calls, they're saying they're utility workers, and all sorts of things. They're getting emails with our logo on it, and so we are really in the business of making sure that our seniors, or everybody knows the things that we will and won't do. So this brochure that I gave everybody, this talks to the things that ComEd Will do. We don't come to your house and ask for money. We never ask for your account number. We have it. We should come with ID. We have it, so we don't need to ask for that. And if we come to the door, and sometimes we do, our team sometimes will come to the door because they need to access the backyard, or they won't let you know we're doing some work in the area. It does happen, but we are fully badged and ID'd. Our trucks have ComEd on it and all that good stuff. And what we're telling people is this: if someone comes to your door and you have a question, we show you our badge, you still have a question, call the police. What should happen is we are standing there when the police get there. Other step the check might take, they might call their supervisor to come to the door with them, but we'll stand there until the police get there. If the person runs, it's not us. If they disappear, it's not ComEd, but we would rather you be safe than sorry. So this brochure we're passing out at all of our table events. Please, I can send the electronic copy if you want to put it on your website. I'd love you to do that.
Absolutely.
And then we have these little magnets that, a lot of people, like to just kind of keep on the fridge so they can have some good reminders. So if there are social events, senior activities, where they're gathering, and you'd like me to come and do a table or a quick talk or what have you, please let Bob know. And then I'm happy to get in touch with those organizations, park districts, senior homes, whatever it is. This is, of course, all free. We want to make sure people know what's going on. So please make sure that you get that to Bob if you want to get in touch with me, and I can go out and make those arrangements. So any questions on that? No? That's my spiel. That's all I got.
All I could say is thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'll see you when I get another check.
You're always welcome. Under listening posts, addresses from the audience, anyone? Apparently, we don't have any, so we'll go right into our meeting. We have a public hearing for an annexation agreement for the V Holdings Incorporated, formerly known as Vicwity Holdings Incorporated. Property is at 2201 North Main Street in Wheaton, Illinois. The public hearing is noted to receive comments on the proposed annexation agreement for the V Holding Incorporated property at the northeast corner of Geneva Road and Schmale Road, which is proposed to be redeveloped into an automobile fueling station and convenience store. Since the agreement is not yet ready for the village board action, staff recommends that the hearing be opened and then immediately and continued to the March 16th, 2020 village board meeting. So I have
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
opened by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Swarzy. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Frizzloni.
Aye.
Trustee Shorzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
I will make a motion to continue the public hearing until our March 16th, 2020
Second.
board meeting.
Moved by trustee Frizzloni, seconded by trustee Geezer. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Frizzloni.
Aye.
Trustee Shorzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to,
Do we need a motion to close it?
No, we don't close it.
It's continued.
Correct. We don't close the public hearing because it's continued. That was the motion. So the next would be for the consent agenda.
okay.
I'll make a motion to select the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Zalick. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Frizzloni.
Aye.
Trustee Shorzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read what is on the consent agenda?
Certainly. Under staff reports and recommendation, number one, recommendation to adopt a green infrastructure policy.
Yes.
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 Excuse me. Number two, recommendation to adopt a complete streets policy.
Yes.
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 Number three, fiscal year 2019-20 pond, shoreline, and wetland maintenance. Change order number one, community park, seating priority area one. Staff recommends that the fiscal year 2019-20 pond, shoreline, and wetland maintenance previously awarded to Bedrock Earthscapes LLC be amended in the amount of $5,000.
Yes.
Yes.
And number 4, telephone system upgrade. Staff recommends budgeted funds being unencumbered and awarding a contract of service for the upgrade of the Village of Carroll Stream's telephone system to Telecom Innovations Group in the amount of $44,550.40.
Yes.
Under resolutions, resolution accepting a grant of stormwater management and conveyance easement, 246 Kehoe Boulevard, packaging personified.
Yes.
That is Resolution 3128. Number 2, resolution declaring surplus property owned by the Village of Carroll Stream.
Yes.
Yes.
That's Resolution 3129. Under new business, 1, raffle license application. Carl Sandburg Elementary School, request for approval of a raffle license and waiver of the fee and manager's fidelity bond for their trivia night fundraiser to be held at the American Legion on March 7th, 2020.
Yes.
Yes.
Number 2, raffle license application, Carroll Stream Rotary Club, request for approval of a raffle license and waiver of the fee and manager's fidelity bond for their Chili Open to be held on May 15, 2020.
Yes.
Yes.
Under payment of bills, number 1, regular bills, February 19, 2020 through March 2, 2020.
Yes.
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 Number 2, addendum warrants, February 19, 2020 through March 2, 2020.
Yes.
Yes.
Is there a motion to put those items on the consent agenda?
Second?
Moved by trustee LaRocca, seconded by trustee Fruzzaloni. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalik.
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Giesser.
Aye.
Trustee Fruzzaloni.
Aye.
Trustee Shorzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve those items by unanimous vote?
So moved?
Second?
Moved by trustee Giesser, seconded by trustee Fruzzaloni. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalik.
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Giesser.
Aye.
Trustee Fruzzaloni.
Aye.
Trustee Shorzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Let's see, we're going to start here. Trustee LaRocca,
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a report this evening.
you have no report. Thank you very much. That's okay. Trustee Giesser?
Thank you very much, and welcome back, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Just want to mention briefly that on March 14th, the Carroll Stream Parade Committee will hold a fundraiser at the Red Apple Pancake House from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Just go in, parade committee will get 10% for the 2020 parade. And also coming up, people are going to be getting information soon. It's time for the census, and the census is important to the village of Carroll Stream. You want to give us a quick update, Tia?
Absolutely. Next week, our residents are going to have a historic opportunity. They will be able to participate in the first online census. You'll receive a postcard in the mail between March 12th through March 20th, as well as follow-up letters to the same time period. You'll be able to complete the census online, by mail, or by phone, with a variety of language options available. Completion of the census is extremely important to our community. Each person is worth approximately $1,500 towards schools, roads, and other community services. It also affects our political representation on the federal level. So this is the opportunity for our residents to claim funding and claim power for our community. So we hope we can all work together, get that complete count, and also celebrate Census Day on April 1st.
Thank you very much, and that's my report.
Thank you, trustee Giesser. Trustee Suarze?
Thank you, sir. Very proud that Carroll Stream is a leader in the care of our environment. Again, with ComEd coming out, giving us a check for $25,886. We not only save money by using energy-efficient bulbs in our street lamps, but we actually get paid for it. So it's a pretty good deal. We save the residents money, and we also get paid for it. So, and along those lines, we passed something on our agenda today about the green infrastructure policy, another environmental friendly thing that we're doing. And our head engineer, Bill Cleveland, said he would mention that.
Sure, thanks for asking. Carroll Stream has done a lot of green infrastructure over the years. We naturalized all of our pond shorelines. Just last year, we completed a detention basin naturalization at Munson and Coon Road, and we received some grant funding from DuPage County for that. And this just kind of memorializes additional green infrastructure opportunities that we have in the future, and potentially could receive some grant funding along with inclusion of these in our roadway projects. And I have to thank Greg Ulrich for writing this. It's really his baby, and so he's our stormwater engineer. And if you have any other questions, let me know. And also our Complete Streets was Adam Frederick, and that's another, opportunity where we've already been doing it with our bike trails and inclusive forms of transit and our bus stops and shelters. So thanks for asking.
Thank you very much. Any questions? It just shows there's a reason we won the county's very first Earth Flag, because of our environmental initiatives, and we continue to keep doing a great job. That was 11 years ago or so that we won that first Earth Flag, and we're still doing stuff today, so. The only other thing I want to mention is we did have a special meeting and talking about our 2021 budget, and it just reminded me how important it is to continue shopping in Carroll Stream. We need all the sales tax we can get, so thank you. End of my report.
Thank you, Trustee Swarzy. Trustee Zalick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, I want to thank Cynthia Towns for coming out and recognizing Carroll Stream. The only other thing I have is I like to look at websites about this day in history or important dates and weeks in the current month to add to my report, put a little twist in it. And I found something that is very important. It's the first Friday of every March, starting back in 1995, is Employee Appreciation Day. So I want to recognize all of our staff and employees in the Village of Carroll Stream for all their efforts in making this town great. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Zalick. Trustee Fruzzoloni.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What a great thing to celebrate on Friday. And I echo that. Thank you to our staff. Every single person who works in Carroll Stream gives 100% and more, regardless if you're a resident or not. And that shows tremendously, especially when we have budget workshops like we do, where you guys did a great job of coming to the board with a balanced budget. And really a lot of time and effort that went into that. So thank you very much to all the staff that were involved in the budget process. The only other thing that I just want to say is last Friday night, we had our police volunteer appreciation dinner, and I want to say thank you to the Carroll Stream Police Department. I've been a police volunteer going on 12 years now, and it's amazing to have seen the transformation over the last couple of years from when I started, when police officers didn't understand the value and the importance of the police volunteer program, to now they can't imagine living without the police volunteers. So I don't remember the exact number of hours to date that were volunteered, but I know that the dollar amount was a little over $40,000 in savings to the Village of Carroll Stream by utilizing our volunteer program. I also know that there are many police departments, especially in DuPage County, that use our police volunteer program as a model for their own, and call on a regular basis to get advice on how to start up a program, or how do we get people to volunteer when they're having some issues with it. So thank you to Officer Tom Eby for the last 10 years that he's really dedicated to not only the volunteer program, but getting our CERT program recognized as one of the best CERT programs in DuPage County. We're one of the first teams that gets called by DuPage County, by other towns, when they need help. They say, we are recognized as one of the best CERT teams, and when it comes to needing volunteers, we're one of the first places that they call. So I just want to say thank you. Tom and Sherry put on a really great appreciation dinner. I know all the volunteers really appreciated their efforts. So I just wanted to say thank you to the police department, and thank you to the volunteers. It's a great partnership, and I look forward to it continuing for many years to come. With that, I will end my report.
Thank you, Trustee Fruzzoloni. Trustee McCarthy.
I will echo the thank yous to the staff, especially for the hard work you did on a very well-done budget. There was no big increases, as our finance director said. It's pretty much a maintenance budget. It goes on as we had previously, and so far it's looking like, something to work with, and thank you for getting us to where we're at. It was awesome having ComEd here yet again. As everybody said, it's kind of nice doing something green and somebody paying for part, for a good chunk of it. So, Phil, you mentioned we're right around 50% of our streetlights are now LED, right?
Correct.
Approximately.
We've replaced almost 1,000, and we have about 1,800 in the system.
So we do, what, about 200 a year?
We did 300 in this
300?
most recent year.
Okay.
And in the coming budget, I'm targeting another 300 to 350.
Very nice. So in another 3 years, we'll be changed over. That is absolutely fantastic, so thank you. We got a little event going on, a bunch of us here are part of the Bags for Life, and actually, it's doing well so far. We're halfway through. We've collected about $16,600 to date. We're hoping to break last year's, which was a little over 21. I'm actually hoping for a specific number of 26.6, because I did the math, and that would give each of the charities $2,000. It would pay for the prize fund, and it would also give Relay for Life $17,500. So we're there tomorrow night, we're there Wednesday night. We have the kids tournament this weekend at 11 a.m., both Saturday and Sunday at Chrissy's. That benefits, it's going to be split evenly between the Ronald McDonald House, they're here in Winfield, and the Special Olympics through the Carroll Stream Police Department. And then next week, we've got one more regular night on the 9th, and then March 11th is our finals night, where we'll finish up bags for the 5th year in a row. So my teammates, of course, Paul Zarnicki, Laura, Mary, my wife, my daughter, my son-in-law, Tim and Shannon, Sarah Marcucci, Nick Porter, Gene Mondrala, and Mark Mondrala, the whole Sabolowski family, New Traditions Funeral Home, which is Brad and Megan Burrows. Did I forget any? And and Flood Brothers. So we've got an awesome team that everybody jumps in and helps where they can. So again, I want to say thank you to everybody who's gotten involved and who's bought raffle tickets or donated or played, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Remind what the charities are.
The charities this year are, of course, the majority, 70%, goes to Relay for Life, which is the American Cancer Society. The other 4 local charities are the Outreach Community Center's College Tour Program, the Corpus Christi Knights of Columbus, the Carroll Stream Parks Foundation specifically for scholarships, and the Dominic Savarino Foundation. So we're very happy that we get to do something for these 4 charities, and we hope we get to continue to do this every year that we share it. And then just one last little thing that nobody mentioned. Trustee LaRocca, congratulations on your retirement. He is officially retired, so that's awesome, and congratulations. Yeah, it's a very long time. And that's the end of my report.
That's a shock. I'm kind of sad to hear that.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you, but
I'm happy for me.
way too much time on your.
It's been a week. I've slept in every day.
Really? Good for you.
I thought I'd be getting up at 5:15 like I usually do. but-
As hard as you've worked, you deserve it, believe me.
Absolutely.
Congratulate you. Madam Clerk?
I just would like to echo the appreciation for all of our employees that work for our village for all their hard work as well. And then also come out and please support our bags tournament, as Trustee McCarthy mentioned. And then just to keep our first responders, military, all those people out there keeping us safe, keep them in your prayer for their safety as well. Thank you.
In the absence of Mr. Rhodes, our village attorney, do you have anything?
I don't have a report tonight,
No
no.
report?
No report.
Okay, thank you for being here. Mr. Muller?
Just a couple of activities to report on that residents may be interested in. As you know, our Public Works Department and our contract tree removal company are removing some large silver maples that are fairly old, and there's some of the original ones that were planted in Carroll Stream. A lot of them have trunk rot, which basically is a hollowed out trunk of the tree. Some of the residents have come out and said that, the tree leaves out every year and doesn't look like it's dead, but our arborists have reported that the trees are actually dying and are not viable and are dangerous. So for liability reasons, we have to remove the trees. If the area that we remove the trees from can be replanted, we'll put them on the tree replacement schedule for this fall. It's also that time of year again, as we approach spring. We're recruiting for Public Works seasonal employees. Typically, those are filled with college students, so the information is on our website. It's also in our newsletter on Facebook, as well as our HR department, if you're interested. We're also recruiting for a planning intern for any college student that's interested in seeing how it actually works in our community development department.
Just real quick, I don't know if trustee LaRocca is retired, he might want to get an application, but.
Anything in the water or sewer department?
I'm retired.
I think he needs some more time.
My apologies.
And as was mentioned earlier, we did have a budget workshop before the board meeting today. Our next budget workshop will be on March 16th at 6 p.m., and we'll be discussing the water and sewer and capital improvement funds. So if residents are interested in attending, that's when it'll be in this boardroom. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I'd like to thank Cynthia for the $25,000. I mean, those grants are really important. We live and die by them, and it's nice when they're able to come in here and give us checks like that to continue to make our village run better and more efficient. The topic that I want to talk about, in fact, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm going to have Joe Carey talk about it, was over the weekend, there was a conference call of about 100 mayors and the mayor of Chicago. It was put together, and it's all put together on the coronavirus. And we need to talk about it because we want to make sure that people understand we're not just sitting here doing nothing. So I'm going to let Joe, and I may jump in because we were on, I did the mute section. They didn't want me to talk, but Joe, with 100 people on the phone, I don't know how many people were on when we were on, but it was almost mass confusion until everybody muted their phone. So I didn't feel so bad. I wasn't the only one. So Joe, if you would please bring us up a little bit on what's going on.
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor. So as you indicated, over the weekend, Mayor Lightfoot and City of Chicago put together a call with surrounding municipalities. Probably over 100, 120 mayors and managers from throughout the Chicago region met to discuss the coronavirus. Chicago brought in a series of experts to discuss what they knew about the virus, what their planned response was, and how they wanted to work together with the surrounding region for a coordinated response. The one biggest thing they really emphasized was that the risk was low and that the preparedness is high. They've been monitoring the situation since it was first reported back in December, and when O'Hare was one of the initial airports that was receiving individuals coming in from China. One of the things they said is really important is to talk about being safe and being prepared. That's something that they are incredibly diligent on. They walk through the different symptoms that the virus has, but as well as talking about the preparedness that they have in place. And that was something they continue to go back on through the hour-long call, is just how they have a high level of coordination between the federal, state, and local level, how they're talking to their liaisons in Washington, as well as talking to the state, county, and local level. At the local level, we're having a meeting with the fire district later this week where we'll be discussing our preparedness. We'll also be taking part in webinars and conference calls with the county to discuss preparations in the event that we have an event here in Carroll Stream. The biggest piece is communication and transparency. That's something we heard loud and clear from the City of Chicago, and that's something that I think we've always done a very good job of, is communicating to the public And that'll be something that we've already begun to do. We've included information on our website that links to the CDC as well as the City of Chicago. So residents, businesses can receive up-to-date information. We've already sent emails out to the Chamber of Commerce to let them know what they can do as business owners in preparation. The largest piece here is really communication and just diligence. It's the stuff that we've learned, when we were growing up about washing your hands. It's hand hygiene and respiratory etiquette is how the CDC calls it, which is another phrase for cover your mouth when you sneeze. Those are just simple things that can go a long way in preventing the spread of this virus. While it is potentially more dangerous than the common flu, it's also something that because of the rate of spread, that's why there's such a large concern over this. But again, it's what Chicago really emphasized was, especially with their homeland security and emergency management people, is that the risk is still low. The number of incidences throughout the United States is isolated and in different pockets. And so it's really going to be more of a region by region approach. And that's what you see in Washington right now and California, as well as in the suburbs of Chicago as well. But that the risk is low, the preparedness is extremely high. And that's why you see some of these individuals who have been exposed, and you're not seeing a community spread in Chicago. But at the same time, it is an extremely fluid event. And what I mean by that is when initially the outbreak took place, there was a high threshold for testing to take place. About 80% of the individuals who have tested positive for the coronavirus had very little symptoms and would have required no hospitalization. So with that, obviously that's a very positive thing that people aren't faced with any really severe health risks. But also that leads to, when we've increased the criteria for testing, Chicago does, and the health experts do expect that we'll see more results that are positive. That's not something to be scared of or to be frightened about. It's a matter of understanding it, being prepared for it, and responding accordingly. And that's something that the City of Chicago has pledged their support to the counties and municipalities, and that's something that we'll continue to monitor. And also, more importantly, continue to communicate with residents on these important issues as they come up.
Well, you covered almost exactly everything that I would have said, so you did a good job. It was impressive, though, for Lightfoot, the way she handled the whole meeting on the phone. To have all of us on the phone and to be able to hold that crowd in bay the way she did and then offer their resources. I don't ever remember Chicago offering us anything. They tell us what they want us to do, usually because they're the big town with the big mayor, and they usually tell us, we want you to do this to support us. In this case, they're actually reaching out so we could all work together, and that's something I'm not used to. But I kind of expected that from her when she first went in, but if you listen to her initial speech, she seemed like the type of person that's a team player and knows that we can get more done if we all work together. And they have a website. Do we have that website that they have? They wanted to keep that website up to date. They said to follow the website close because it could change every half hour to every hour. As circumstances change, the website will be updated, no matter what day it is or what time it is. They'll keep updating it to let people know what's going on. They don't want this to be a secret, but they don't want people to go panic crazy and start running out and buying all the rubbing alcohol and face masks and rubber gloves. And, I mean, I heard people today say they went into Costco and there was no paper towels, there was no bleach, there was no whatever. I mean, it was like all this was empty. And that's what happens when people get crazy like that. They got 5 people, they got 100 face masks in their house. I mean, like, you don't need them. Somebody else might need them. So, I mean, it was good. We're on it. When they mentioned about our health department, I knew we were in trouble because we don't have a health department in Carol Stream. So the big towns that were on there that have health facilities and stuff, I mean, they were more into it, but it's nice to know that we're surrounded. Mayor Panetta was on that call with us last night. This was 7 o'clock Sunday night that we were on this call. Mayor Panetta was on there, Mayor Craig from Hanover Park, so we had West Chicago. Frank Trillo, the mayor from Willowbrook, that had all the trouble with Sarangenics, with all the stuff coming out. I mean, there was a lot of the mayors that were on there that were concerned. And a lot of the mayors that I run with, that I know are always concerned about their people. And those were the ones that were really involved. So it made me feel good last night. I think it's a bad thing that's happening, but it's a good thing because it's drawing us together. And I think that's very important. I really, one of the things that they stress to us, and I know this is an open meeting, is as we find out things that are going on, I would like to make Joe our point person on this. If anybody from the media calls, and I wish Joe Highland would have stayed, because I wanted to try to get my point across, if somebody asks you a question from the media, I will give my question to Joe, because we can't all have different things that we're thinking or talking about. This could create a panic that could be, it doesn't even exist, and I don't want to be part of that. So we made Joe the point man. I didn't make Joe the point man, Bob did. I listened to him on the phone, the questions he asked, I'm very impressed. So I'm willing to say, you're the point person. If somebody calls me, I'm going to refer them to you, and then you answer the questions for me. And anybody else, I would appreciate it if we all work together to try and keep this as, everybody should know what's going on, but the right way. And that it'll all be posted, T will be posting stuff continuously, which is very good.
So we have a unified message rather than.
Yes, a unified message is we just can't be rogue on this one where anybody who wants to talk to somebody, there is no information. It's between all the towns put together. And we don't want to get any panic-stricken things going on here. The next thing is, I voted today. I went and voted the primary. So, I'm not going to say anybody, I don't care who you vote for, but you should vote. This is important. The primary is as important as the regular election, because you're going to pick people this time that are going to get on the ballot or not get on the ballot. Do your homework, look at their background, make sure you understand, and if you have questions, there's places that you could go, that you could ask questions about their candidate, if it's a judge, if it's somebody for the county board, if it's somebody for Washington or whatever. You could ask questions, find out what they voted for, and then vote for the right person. Because if you get the right people on the primary, there's a good opportunity that they could be the next senator, the next rep, the next county board person, the next anything. So it's very important that we get the right people.
Mr. Mayor, if I can interject, since you brought up the election, the municipal center will be a polling place, similar to the last election. Since the library is under construction, they are typically a polling place. So we are a polling place for precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are Bloomingdale Township 58, 60, 82, and 103. So if you normally cast your ballot at the library, you'll come here.
We need to get that information out if we could, because people will go to the library and they'll get disgusted and they won't vote. So I always go to the shopping mall. I want to get my vote in. I know it's dangerous to vote in this state, to vote early, because by the time the election comes around, that person could be in jail. It's like, I hate to say that, but we have a history here in Illinois of having some very bad people run for office and in office. But I like to get my vote in early, but I do my homework. I'm fortunate, as many of you are, we're fortunate. We know who's running and the reasons they're running. And I hope they're for the right reason, and I think in our case, most of them are. So that kind of ends I want to thank the board for covering for me for the last meeting, and I'm be in and out, so thank you very much. I know you really don't need it, you can tell, but thank you anyway. And I want to thank Matt McCarthy and his team for all he's doing with this Relay for Life thing. At the end, he put my son, Dominic Savarino, the foundation in there. For those of you that don't know, we've lived here for 44 years. My son played football and wrestling for Glenbard North. And we decided, my daughter Jennifer, working with Denise Manella, put together a program, and we are a 501c3, and we're going to do scholarships, but they're going to be done at Glenbard North. We're not giving them to any of the other Glenbard schools, because that's where Dominic went to school. So we seeded that already, and it was nice enough that trustee McCarthy and his group of people decided to put some money in there. But the idea is to perpetuate that, so the kids that live in Carroll Stream that go to Glenbard North, or Glenbard North students that need the money, will have money there for them. So we've been working with the school. I've kind of stayed away from it. I let my daughter and Denise do it, and so far it's been working really well. We haven't got any students. We're not going to pick them. We're going to let the school pick 5 or 6 or 8, and then we will decide, not we, they will. My daughter and her team will go through those students and see who gets the scholarship by need, and basically that's it. Doesn't matter who they are or what they are. It doesn't matter if they really need it and the school thinks that they should get it. We didn't want the school to make the decision, and we didn't want to make the decision. We figured we'd work together, and it should work out really good that way. So I just wanted to clear that up, so thank you. We're going into closed session, is that correct?
Yes, we're going into closed session pursuant to 2C2, the Open Meetings Act, for deliberations concerning salary schedules from one or more classes of employees. There will be no action taken after executive session, so the motion will be to go into executive session pursuant to 2C2 of the Open Meetings Act and adjourn thereafter.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Fruzzaloni. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalik.
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Giesert.
Aye.
Trustee Fruzzaloni.
Aye.
Trustee Schwarzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.